cold swell rolls like machinery, and tight framing keeps scale without sky, landmarks, or readable distractions.
Cold currents sweep marine snow sideway, and kelp-lined rocks create lanes that guide spiny lobster foraging close to bottom.
Small debris motion maps odor lanes, and tiny shifts show how scent hugs the bottom in cold water.
Midwater fish drift quietly, and the real hunt stays low where bait scent gathers near the rocks.
A lobster trap relies on patience, and bait odor becomes the only invitation in a quiet landscape.
Funnel geometry guides entry one way, and rigid wire holds shape through long soaks under steady current. Antennae sweep the water, and the lobster follows odor with slow steps across rock and sand.
Inspection starts with touch, and cautious circling tests the funnel before any commitment to the narrow entrance.
Multiple lobsters stage around the odor plume, and slow approach builds tension without an early capture. False entry looks believable, and backing away shows caution before the trap finally fills during the soak.
A plain buoy marks the trap string, and tight wet line hints at heavy gear waiting below. Trap stacks show industrial scale, and disciplined securing prevents shifting when the deck rolls in cold swell.
Scent draws closer attention, and funnel geometry sets the next step without any sudden, impossible movement.
Hydraulic rollers and safety pins decide the pace, and one missed check can cripple the whole haul.
Scent draws closer attention, and funnel geometry sets the next step without any sudden, impossible movement.
Hesitation keeps behavior real, and entry happens in stages when the animal finally feels safe.
Partial entry raises stakes, and the trap design turns curiosity into commitment over time in cold current.
A quiet gathering signals what is coming, and the first act ends with promise rather than payoff. A stronger plume spreads odor farther, and that wider trail draws more lobsters toward the trap line. Commitment begins with entry, and the next sequence turns waiting into relentless hauling and fast sorting.
Inside the trap, movement stays contained, and wire mesh turns restless energy into valuable weight under steady swell. Funnel entry looks awkward by design, and once inside, claws and antennae keep the lobster committed. The first lift changes everything, and gravity replaces calm as the catch braces against wire and motion.
Tension runs through wet rope, and steady surface retrieval prevents snapback when traps finally break free below. Small speed trims keep tension smooth, and hands stay clear of rollers where rope can crush.
When the trap clears the waterline, swing becomes danger, and guiding poles keep steel and bodies separated.
The dump turns value into motion, and tail flips and claw clacks force speed on a slick deck.
Size checks and fast releases protect the stock, and keepers move to banding before cold tanks lock in value.
Banding prevents injury, and fast transfer to cold live wells protects survival and premium market value.
Resetting keeps the tempo brutal, and clean payout prevents tangles that waste fuel and time.
Inside the next trap, antennae overlap tightly, and constant movement shows a heavy set building under freezing current. Wire funnels force a slow squeeze, and the lobster enters with friction and control instead of impossible speed. Sediment blooms then falls away, and the trap ascends steadily as the catch braces against wire and lift.
Rope vibration signals heavy traps rising, and smooth retrieval prevents sudden snapback in freezing chop.
Bracing low reduces slips, and tiny speed changes keep tension stable, while freezing spray steals grip.
Water drains off the trap, and live lobsters press the wire as crew controls swing safely.
A denser dump turns the deck into motion, and tail snaps demand speed, while boots fight slick surfaces. Egg-bearing lobsters go back fast, and keepers move to banding before cold tanks lock in quality.
Chilled seawater slows metabolism, and steady aeration keeps oxygen stable while hauling continues without pause.
Consistent rebaiting keeps results stable, and smooth payout prevents snarls that waste minutes in hard weather.
This set loads heavier than the last, and overlapping bodies press wire until the frame creaks under load.
Bodies show through wire like warning signs, and controlled swing keeps steel from slamming the rail.
Weight loads the frame, and the trap ascends slowly while lobsters shift position to keep balance.
A near vertical line means the trap is close, and steady hauling prevents shock loads in rough chop.
Salt spray blinds faces, and micro speed trims keep rope steady while heavy traps rise toward deck.
Wire flashes with movement inside, and controlled swing keeps a loaded trap from slamming the rail. A thick spill thrashes like living armor, and fast corralling prevents crushed fingers and broken shells.
Every keeper counts, and every release happens fast, because time on deck stresses both crew and catch.
Live storage protects price, and closed lids prevent losses when the vessel rolls hard in rough water.
Another trap goes back down fast, and clean payout keeps the string running without tangles or wasted fuel.
This trap loads heavier again, and antennae and claws overlap so tightly the bait bag almost disappears.
Legs hook into mesh for leverage, and slow scraping shows real friction instead of fantasy movement.
A bump against rock tests the frame, and steady lift prevents snagging that can tear wire or rope.
Reading line angle prevents snags, and a brief slowdown saves time compared with forcing rope under tension.
Water drains fast, and live lobsters crowd the wire as crew steadies the trap for a safe landing. Walkway discipline prevents falls, and corralling movement keeps boots from stepping into claws and heavy tails.
Fatigue shows in faces, and clean sorting keeps American lobster moving fast into banding and cold tanks.
Spray drips from beards, and sealed tanks keep lobsters strong while the deck resets for another pull. Quick repairs and fresh bait keep the string productive, and smooth payout prevents snarls in hard wind.
Layered bodies press into corners, and the trap holds shape as current rocks it gently above the bottom. Tail flexing shows stress, and confined space turns every movement into scraping sound and visible pressure.
As the trap rises, balance shifts constantly, and weight transfer stresses wire joints and knots under heavy load. A buoy marks the string, and the line stands nearly vertical as traps rise through cold chop.
The hauler pulls at peak load, and the trap frame breaks the surface with lobsters visible through wire.
The trap comes up loaded, and lobsters press the wire while crew kills the swing before a hard landing. Spacing prevents accidents, and clear pinch points matter more than speed when steel opens under tension. Calm speed wins here, and every second saved reduces stress while maximizing survival and market quality.
Aeration becomes the heartbeat, and sealed lids protect high-value lobsters while the crew pushes into the next pulls.
Fresh bait goes in, and the trap slides off the launcher as buoy line pays out without tangles.
Legs hook wire for leverage, and the trap holds a restless load that cannot find escape routes.
Lift starts slow and unforgiving, and the load shifts as lobsters brace against wire and rising current.
A steeper line angle signals the trap is near, and foam and chop amplify every rope surge.
Hands stay clear of rollers, and small speed trims keep tension smooth while the deck pitches hard.
The trap comes up loaded, and lobsters press the wire as crew controls swing inches from the rail.
The biggest dump yet hits like a wave, and tail snaps force instant control on slick steel.
Sorting happens in seconds, and American lobster keepers move to banding while protected lobsters return to sea fast.
Sealed lids prevent losses, and steady aeration holds oxygen while the last traps finish the string.
Final resets stay precise, and consistency keeps catch rates high even when fatigue dulls reaction time.
Rhythm replaces surprise, and continuous hauling turns hard work into steady production on a wet, moving deck.
Back-to-back traps compress time, and clean landings prevent mistakes when cold and fatigue reduce reaction speed.
A final dense dump spikes intensity, and tail flips demand instant control while the deck stays slick.
Fast banding controls claws, and quick transfers to chilled tanks keep American lobster alive and valuable. End-run checks reduce accidents, and locked gear signals the final traps for this string are finished. Sealed lids and steady aeration protect value, and sloshing water shows sea state still punishing the deck. A catch pile shows true scale, and disciplined icing keeps temperature stable, while pride replaces tension.
Exhaustion reads in small smiles, and calm breathing replaces urgency once every lid and strap is secured.
Glossy shells and clean ice show freshness, and banded claws keep handling safe for crew and catch.
Celebration starts without chaos, and careful ice management continues even while the crew finally lets emotion out.
A quiet nod marks completion, and discipline holds even as the jobs shift from hauling to preservation.
Relief releases tension, and buried faces show pride, fatigue, and calm as the cold chain stays protected.
Even during celebration, ice work continues, and strict temperature control protects premium live and fresh product.
A living pile signals freshness, and keeping distance prevents injuries from claws, tails, and shifting weight.
Rinsing removes grit and algae, and gentle handling keeps live quality high before chilling and packing.
Chilled seawater slows metabolism, and steady aeration maintains oxygen levels during the most critical holding period.
Layering with flake ice controls temperature, and careful packing prevents cracked shells that reduce value instantly.
Tight lashing stops shifting, and plain surfaces keep the frame clean while cold retention stays uninterrupted.
A sealed tote completes the deck phase, and the story shifts from sea labor to professional kitchen control. After adrenaline, recovery matters, and warm coffee contrasts the cold, repetitive work that just filled the deck.
Condensation proves cold retention, and one final latch click confirms that quality is protected for the next stage.
Receiving verifies the cold chain, and live movement confirms handling stayed fast and temperature stayed low. Professional handling stays clean, and controlled cuts preserve texture without turning the kitchen into spectacle.
Steam cooking preserves sweetness, and tight timing prevents overcooking that turns delicate meat dry and tough.
Plating stays restrained, and butter and citrus highlight texture without masking the clean, sweet flavor.
Texture shows freshness, and quiet reactions communicate value better than staged talk after a disciplined sea run.
Cold preparations show versatility, and chilled bowls protect delicate fibers while keeping presentation clean and simple.
Clean shell release shows proper cooking, and small smiles confirm the payoff after disciplined cold water hauling.
A restrained toast closes the arc, linking hard hauling at sea to refined service without exaggeration.
Macro detail shows sheen and fibers, and simple lighting keeps attention on quality rather than decoration.
A final nod ends the journey, and respect replaces spectacle after cold water hauling delivers the meal.